A very warm greeting to one and all. On behalf of Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar, Dean, Faculty of Management, SIU, and Director, Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, and the entire SIMS family, I, Amay Mutatkar, along with Asta Chauhan, student managers of SIMS, extend a very warm welcome to you all to the first plenary session of SIMSARC 2024.
As we gather for this plenary session, I am privileged to introduce our esteemed knowledge partners, Emerging Market Society, University of Sydney Business School, Emerald Publishing, and our conference partner, Taylor's University, Malaysia, who have joined us in our shared mission of advancing knowledge and fostering collaborations. While it is customary to begin such sessions with quotes from renowned business leaders, today we draw inspiration from the timeless wisdom of a British fiction writer, Sir Arthur Charles Clarke, who said, and I quote, "Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic," unquote. As we stand on the brink of transformative technological advancements, this sentiment resonates deeply. It reminds us that the magic of innovation lies in how we harness technology, not just to solve problems, but to envision and create better future.
The theme for this year's conference is Technology and Beyond, Business Solutions for One World, One Future.
Over the course of 2 days of this conference, we will be able to listen to panel discussions on a variety of topics from business and management. The first plenary session being held today is on role of Gen AI in business and management.
We are extremely excited and honored to host a panel of distinguished speakers and to hear their perspective on role of Gen AI in business and management. Let's envision a world where knowledge empowers, innovation inspires, and equity reigns. For it is in these collective threads of education that we stitch not just a future but a legacy.
Today, we have the honor of hosting 3 distinguished speakers from this session, one of whom will also serve as the moderator. Introducing them, Professor Pavan Jain, Interim Chair and Associate Professor, School of Business, Virginia Commonwealth University, Virginia, USA. Professor David Downs, Alfred L. Blake, Endowed Chair and Professor, Department of Finance, Insurance and Real Estate, Virginia Commonwealth University, Virginia, USA. Ms. Nidhi Gulati, Country Communications Director, Springer Nature. Please join us in welcoming them with a huge round of applause. Our first panelist for this plenary session is Professor Pavan Jain, Interim Chair and Associate Professor, School of Business, Virginia Commonwealth University, Richmond, Virginia, USA. Professor Pavan Jain received his PhD in Finance from the University of Memphis in 2013 and a PhD in Instructional Design and Technology from the University of Wyoming in 2008. Sir is a chartered financial analyst, charter holder, and a certified financial planner. He is also a blockchain expert as certified by American Institute of CPAs. Professor Jain has authored several scholarly articles in leading finance and real estate journals such as the Journal of Corporate Finance, Journal of Financial Markets, journals such as the Corporate Finance. He has won several awards and honors for his high-quality research and outstanding teaching. Sir has also made over 200 presentations at professional meetings and has also been invited to present his research at several premier business schools such as the University of Mississippi, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, Calcutta and Indore, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, University of Wyoming, University of Memphis and Marquette University among others. Professor Jain's research has been featured in popular press and he has also been interviewed several times by the news channels for his opinion on stock market regulations, blockchain and high-frequency trading. Sir has also been invited to present his research at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, National Association of Real Estate Investment Trust, Securities and Exchange Board of India, Reserve Bank of India, and National Stock Exchange of India. He has also invited to serve on the state of Wyoming's Blockchain Coalition. In addition to being an outstanding researcher, Professor Jain is an excellent teacher. He has been teaching online since 2005. He challenges and inspires his students to find their passion and attempt to become a world expert. His teaching goes well beyond the classroom lecture experience. He travels with the students to leading global events and student competitions on investment research, where students apply textbook knowledge at a level that can help them secure the best employment opportunities in the field. Sir has a long association with SIMS. He has graced us in the past and is like an extended SIMS family. We are glad to have him back. Welcome to SIMSARC 2024, sir.
Our second panelist for the day is Professor David Downs. Professor David Downs, holder of the Alfred L. Blake Endowed Chair and Director of the Kornbluh Institute of Virginia Commonwealth University, is a distinguished professor specializing in real estate finance and investment, with a focus on institutional real estate, CRE investment vehicles, and regulatory implications. His research has been featured in leading journals like Real Estate Economics and the Journal of Portfolio Management. A recipient of research grants from the Real Estate Research Institute, he serves on editorial boards for prominent real estate journals and teaches real estate investment analysis and principles of real estate to undergraduate and graduate students, fostering expertise in the field since joining VCU in 2003. We welcome you to SIMSARC 2024, sir.
Our last panelist for the session is Ms. Nidhi Gulati. Nidhi Gulati, Country Communications Director for Springer Nature Group in India, is an award-winning communications leader with over 2 decades of experience across media and corporate sectors. Specializing in corporate strategy, brand communication, marketing, public affairs, diversity, equity, accessibility and inclusion, and corporate social responsibility, she excels in strategy development, media relations, crisis management, and leadership mentoring. With 3 postgraduate degrees in mass communication, radio and television journalism, and business management in marketing, Ms. Nidhi blends expertise and empathy to lead dynamic teams, craft compelling data-driven narratives, and foster inclusive, collaborative work environments. Welcome to SIMSARC 2024, ma'am.
This was a brief introduction of all our panelists for the session. SIMS is grateful for their association and is looking forward to learning from their experience. And for the audience, there will be a question and answer round towards the end of the session. I now request Professor Pavan Jain sir to moderate the session.
Welcome to this session. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all. It's an exciting session, I guess, to kickstart the conference, right? And in particular, I think I'm really impressed to see all the students and, of course, faculty, researchers, and staff for SIMS. It's always a pleasure to be here. I was sad during the COVID years because I was not able to come to Pune. Pune has become my favorite place to come visit on the annual basis. So I'm glad to be here. Today's session, we are supposed to be discussing generative AI and how is it impacting the business and management in general, right? Now, in my opinion, this field is evolving. I don't think we have anyone who is the expert in this area. We all are learning together, and so that's why it's more like a discussion rather than you learning from us. We learn from each other, right? Before I begin, I'll give you some quick sort of update One of the panelists was not able to make it today because he became sick. I hope speedy recovery for Professor Raj, and hopefully we can learn from him into the future. But that opens up room for one more panelist, right? So we only are two panelists, and I am not an expert, so I'm going to moderate the session. So that third panelist would be you guys, right? So I'm going to go and ask you guys questions. When they said like question and answer session, they were serious. Questions would be from me, answers would be from you guys. It's not going to be the other way around, right? Because we are short of one panelist. So that's what we're going to do, all right? So here's my suggestion for you guys. As you sort of think through, listen to these guys talk, share their wisdom, think about your own applications. I'm sure, let's show of hand, let me see how many of you have experimented with some kind of generative AI technology.
I'm sure everyone.
You don't have to see your neighbor, you can just raise your hand right? Okay, seems like pretty much everyone is you're saying, right? So now what I want you to do is reflect on that experience. Reflect from the perspective of how do you use it, but more importantly, what challenges you face, right? And then we'll start discussing those. Now, about the introductions, I always sort of sit and listen to these, and I always wonder, is it me that they're talking about, right? But I'm sort of pleased to have two excellent panelists here. Professor Downs, one thing that the introduction did not cover was last I checked, he was ranked number 19 on the real rating, which rates all the real estate faculty members and researchers across the world. And so, it's just our absolute pleasure to have an expertise like his among us today, right? And then, of course, we heard about Nidhi. We, as researchers, we sort of look up to the journals, and the journals are published by Springer, and where she works. So when I saw her first time, I was too excited. I was asking all kinds of questions. She was like getting really upset about my question. David came to the rescue and said, "Well, just stop, don't ask me any questions. Wait until the panel session, right?" So now I get a chance to ask you all the questions. All right, so what I want to do is maybe we take a step back and probably listen from each of these panelists about their experiences in the field, but more importantly, how they see technology impacting the areas, right? So maybe I can start with Nidhi first. So if you want to talk about a little bit about your area and how, in general, technology, and then maybe later on, the generative technology is impacting your field of work.
Sure, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So I'm asked what role technology plays in publishing. That's the question to me. And I want to ask all of you, do you think technology plays a role in publishing? I don't hear you. It does? It definitely does, because had it not, today it takes, and all, I'm sure all active researchers would know, that it takes anywhere between 90 days to 180 days for a paper to be published. Had technology not been playing a role, we would still take about 2 years, 3 years, or maybe more, right? So, as any other organization, any other sector, publishing is also looking at technology and embedding technology in each and every process of the entire publishing journey or publishing cycle. And we're very mindful when we are starting to use technology. I'm not even going to venture into AI just yet, because talking of AI, we're going too far. Getting the traditional systems up and running with the support of technology has been a massive turnaround in the publishing industry. But what it has done is support and make processes quicker and faster. I think that is where technology will also play an enhanced role in the future, making it easier for us humans to work and to make sure that our research looks better and it also reaches more people faster.
Excellent. Let's see. Technology. So let's see, Dr. Downs, what do you think technology is playing a role or in real estate, or is still very traditionally organized?
Well, first off, it's wonderful to be here. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Thank you. It's very, very militaristic. I like that. I actually, I've enjoyed chatting with your director, who is an Army man. I happen to be a Navy individual, so I served my time in the United States Navy and the U.S. Submarine Force, so I understand a little bit of technology and how it influences where we all come from and where we go. Pawan suggested taking a step back, and not to get too personal, but I'll tell you a story about my graduate school experience at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. I was working on my dissertation, and I wanted to do some research involving institutional ownership data. So what mutual funds, what institutions, specific holdings do they have, and how does that influence performance? And it seemed like an innovative and interesting idea, I just lacked the data. The data was going to be found in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So I understand India has an analogous Securities and Exchange Commission. And so I had to get in my car as a student, and I had to drive to Washington, D.C. So I'll tell you, this is in the late 80s, 1980s, a while ago. I had to drive to Washington, D.C., and I had to go through basically their library and get these old telephone-style books that listed this data, and I made Xerox copies of the pages. And then I had to bring those pages back, and that took me several days to collect all that information. Take that data back to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and enter it into a spreadsheet and work with it from there. The point is there was no electronic version of this. It was just printed. It was just printed. And then, so I fast forward to today, and so much of the data that we have available, whether it's in finance or real estate or in business, is available electronically, either for purchase by an information vendor, or I can create something clever that scrapes it off the web. And to Nita's point, it's so much faster. And my competitive advantage back in working on my dissertation was the fact that I put in and I'm going to use this a couple of times, the manually intensive effort to collect that data where somebody else may not. And I'm going to leave it with this thought, which is that generative AI is going to help us do a lot of things that aren't manually intensive. Things that can be automated, yes, but I see that as sort of the story of the evolution of where we've been and where we're going.
Well, that's an excellent story. I think that I had some notes, but I thought I would not trust them anymore. I'll just go with the flow, right? It was getting a little too commercial. So anyway, based on what I heard, I think I have a kind of a follow-up question. So you suggested maybe the technology can help us do things more efficiently in some way. But maybe I have a question for you. So let's say, and I'm sure others have seen these memes where technology is doing all the creative work now, and as humans, we are doing all the work that has no use of our brain. Washing clothes, dishes, making food, whatever. Why can't technology do that? Why I think, right? What do you think the research in this area, how is that going to impact the publication?
So let me start with, we published the first book with ChatGPT as an author last year. I think that itself says a lot about where generative AI is going. Absolutely, and we should be, right? No, we shouldn't be. Okay, tell me, who knows the full form of GPT? And who's going to say it? Loud out. We all use GPT, don't we? I'm sure all of you do. It's a very interesting question, you know. This is a question that my teenager asked me today morning. And I was so happy that he's asking this question because it is generative, pre-trained transformer. Now the word pre-trained itself tells us that you have to train this module. It's not going to act on its own. So human brains being put on the side, not happening. What can happen is the human in the loop can influence all that GPT and generative AI is going to lead. Isn't that what Meta is doing for marketing? I mean, there are so many things that we are regularly looking at. Oh, for us, we might just Google, all of us, but we don't know what's happening at the back end of that Google. And that is where generative AI is doing its predictive analysis and throwing results at you without you even asking questions. So I definitely don't think that humans are going to be replaced, but it is more about humans making life easier by pre-training large data sets, which obviously are not always going to be correct. So you need that oversight. You need that oversight. And I think publishers like us are also using generative AI for research integrity purposes to make sure that the integrity of the content is intact.
So if I hear you correctly, the oversight is also done by ChatGPT kind of things. Like GPT is overseeing GPT, which I'm kind of mind-boggling. I'm overseeing myself. What do? I mean, I'll give all my bonuses to myself. I'm doing a great job here, right, guys? So I deserve all the raises, right? So let me go to David here for an application of what you just said. So in real estate, every property is kind of unique, right? This building we are in, I don't think anywhere else in the world would have the same kind of building that exists out there. We need a lot of data to train, but in the real estate, every data point is different. So how is GPT going to help or hurt this industry?
I think generative AI is going to help real estate in many, many different ways. Just the way the proliferation and transparency of information has typically helped. Used properly. I think one of the real challenges that we face is with the biases that are potentially inherent in any kind of generative AI and how those show up in loan originations, loan approvals for individuals, and things like that. So to whatever extent we can speed up and make the process of originating loans and approving loans more efficient, while at the same time providing the necessary oversight that the biases that we look for are not inherent in the decisions that are made. I think I see lots of great opportunities there. I will take an exception, though, to the fact that this property is unique, and to what extent can generative AI assist in the valuation of something like this? And if generative AI can observe those patterns, which is what it does, it is able to process a great deal of information quickly, and then observe those patterns, and then share those ideas. As long as we still have, making a reference to The Wizard of Oz, has anybody ever heard of that movie, The Wizard of Oz? Okay, yes, I see the nods, thank you. Understanding who the man or the woman is behind the curtain, and exactly what's coming out of the machine that's providing us input for our decisions, to whatever extent that can be more efficient, so I can step back and say, okay, does this really make sense? Is this strategically really what we want to do? And is it equitable? Is it equitable? Does it help move society forward? I'll just, I have sort of my own meme on AI, and that is that, AI is not not going to take your job. Students, AI is not going to take your job. The person who's using AI, when you're not, they're going to take your job. So lean into it, educate yourself. Isn't that what we're all here for anyhow, education? Educate yourself about what it does, what it can do, and what its limitations are. And there are going to be limitations as with anything.
Well, I'll ask a follow-up question on that, because I know David he's my colleague at Virginia Commonwealth University. Now you said maybe incorporate GPT into your learning. How do you feel about someone writing a paper and submitting in your class using GPT? Would you be open to that idea?
Don't you think they don't already?
Well, I'm going to trust them. How many of you do write papers using GPT? See, no one does.
Oh, no one's going to accept it. They have their faculty sitting right here.
I love this guy right here who raised the other guy's hand. Okay. In the U.S., we call that an honor system, but you're supposed to honor your own decisions, not his. But that was a bold move right there.
And if you're saying you're not using GPT, as David said, AI is not taking your jobs. People who are using AI will. So you've got to accept if you are, and there's nothing wrong in it. You know, there's a massive limitation that AI has, generative AI has, limited creative capacity. It can't think the way you and I can.
Of course. I mean, that is true.
I had several former graduate students from India, primarily from Christ University, and I hope that someday we're able to have a strong partnership here as we do with Christ University. And one of these students now is working for an accounting firm in Richmond, Virginia. Clearly the brightest graduate assistant I ever had, but I think he trained himself on ChatGPT to be able to detect my students that were using ChatGPT. I literally think he would take an exam question and he would just prompt and prompt and prompt, and he would look to see how that answer would evolve. And then I'd let him grade the essay questions, and he'd come back and say, oh, this person had my third prompt, this person had my fourth prompt, and so on and so forth. And, you know, the point is, who isn't using ChatGPT? And I hope you are, Juan said very early on, experimenting with it. I hope you are, but when it comes to your education and to learning, you know, I could do the same thing with any assignment that's supposed to be independent, and yet I've got the answer, I've got the prompt, or whatever the case may be, from my colleague, and how have I deprived myself? And I happen to be a big proponent, students don't always agree with me, but I happen to be a big proponent of the fact that if you focus on your grades, you're going to let that get in the way of your education and learning. So sure, learn what ChatGPT is, but you can't read about fitness and have a fit body. You got to get out and do it. So the same thing goes with thinking. You've really got to be able to think, or else AI is going to take you over.
Well, thank you for those comments. How many of you think like ChatGPT or some kind of GPT should be open into the classroom setting, especially the students here? The faculty don't have eyes in the back, so don't worry, they will not see if you raise your hands. Well, that helps, right? Alright, so pretty much everyone. How about faculty? What do you guys think? Should we allow GPT in the classroom? Alright, do we have a microphone somewhere? So let's go to the director, sir, here. I have a question for you. So last night we were having dinner, and we were told that the institution has a no AI policy, right? Am I correct? So it seems like faculty wants to use it, student wants to use it. Where is the disconnect?
No, I think understanding and not in the implementation. ChatGPT or generative AI is here to stay and it's going to be there. We do not say don't use it, but when you are using it, make sure that it comes within the given limits. The university says that whatever you use from the ChatGPT or generative AI, the plagiarism part should be less than 1%. That's all. One must, this is a technology which is here to stay. You can't do away without it, and I agree with what David said, that if you're not using it, you will be out. So use it, but use it, correctly use it, knowing what you are using, and don't just, copy paste, because that will not help you. That's all. So it's allowed.
Very valid comment. That raises a concern about ethics in AI. I want to move to that topic now. Let's go this side and talk about ethics, especially like in the research. You're dealing with mostly the faculty, the scientists, who are supposed to be really well trained. Do you see any issues when the GPT was launched? All of a sudden there were concerns, red flags, or
Oh, yes, most definitely. I think we saw a spate of papers come in which were written using generative AI. And the good thing is that, as David was saying, that, we need to have prompters. And I think humans, in this case, are the best prompters. So if you really do not want generative AI to take your jobs, you need to be a subject matter expert, an expert prompter, to ensure that AI cannot really engulf it all and make it their own. It is still acting on your commands. It is still acting how you are teaching it. And so it's very easy to also catch and figure out where there is an ethical dilemma, where there is plagiarism. And I just heard Sir say that plagiarism needs to be less than 1%. I cringe at that thought because there are so many tools available. You put it in GPT, you get it out, put it in Humanize IO, put it out in another IO, and lo and behold, you have a completely new text, and plagiarism is not getting caught, sir. But...
Are you suggesting the students to do that?
No, definitely not. But you know where you get caught when you do this? The machine is still thinking like a machine. It's not thinking like a human. So the sentence structures, the sentence formation is still going to be very, very mechanical. And for an experienced eye, the faculty here, they can catch it in no time. And that is where humans have to be very mindful of what they do with it. Coming to the ethical part of it, it is very important for us as humans to realize that technology is here to support us, make processes efficient, faster, more productive. It is not here to cater to or replace your human brain. If that was the case, perhaps we're all going to have all white cells and no gray cells in our brain anymore. But do you think that's happening? Is it? Is it? I see someone nodding there. Is it? And if it is, it's a concern. It's a massive concern, because if you limit your own capacity to think creatively out of the box, in many boxes, then you're going to allow a machine to command you, which I'm sure you're not going to like.
Well, that's a very good kind of a take on that. We don't want to be sort of guided by the machines. We would like to guide the machines rather than... So again, I mean, I read a quote somewhere, like maybe 10 years down the road, there will be two kinds of jobs. Either you program the computer or you get programmed, right? So you want to know which side of the equation you want to be. Do you want to be programmed by the computer? Like, well, computer decides what you get to do. But I want to follow up on one of the comments you made. Is basically, as a faculty, we have the wisdom to catch anyone using GPT. I hear you say before, like you have your GA sort of run through these things, and tell you like, oh, this is prompt 3, prompt 4. Do you think as a faculty we are equipped to be able to catch every version of GPT and say, well, all right, there's a problem?
As a faculty member, are we equipped? Well, I'm always looking to be more equipped in everything. But no, I don't think we are. I think it's going to evolve to a point where, you know, it flies under the radar, over the radar, or, you know, there's an expression in investment banking that, you know, there's this Chinese wall that, you know, analysts and investment bankers aren't supposed to talk, but certain people within the bank actually are above the Chinese wall, you know, and they do talk, and that's why we get conflicts of interest. You know, going back, maybe I'm too much of a historical guy, but I'm thinking the first paper that was turned in by a student where they used spell check. Anybody ever heard of spell check? Sure, you know. Did some professor say, wait a second, that's not right. You shouldn't be relying on a machine to check your spelling. You know, what is this? Or the student who turns something in that's been run through Grammarly. Wait a second, you don't know grammar? You should be learning this. You're relying on a machine. So at what point do we not rely on machines? And how far is too far? And I don't think any of us are here to answer these questions. I think these are questions that, in an educational setting, you should be asking yourself. You know, how much is too far? And somebody's always going to push the envelope, and that's the whole question of ethics. Is, you know, what do we agree should be common boundaries? And if I'm the leader of an organization, how do I guide my organization and what appropriate boundaries are? And even for society, okay, that's a much harder question, but, you know, for society, what are the boundaries? And let me just, one more thing, I love the audience participation. How many students here are graduate students in business? Just raise your hand if you're a grad. Nobody?
Like a master's student.
Yeah, I thought everybody should have their hand up. Are they stuck?
I think they're confused. Why are you asking that?
Oh, wait, well, here's the reason why I'm asking it. I thought all the hands would go up. I thought that you said yes, ma'am, yes, sir, very quickly. I thought it was great audience participation. No, I don't need to go to ChatGPT. But here's my next question. Here's my next question. How many students have an undergraduate, so before your master's, degree in engineering? Okay, great. How many students have an undergraduate degree in biological science? Yeah, but both of us. Microbiology, was it? Chemistry. Okay? Good, yeah. I love the chemists, yes. How many students have an undergraduate degree in what they would describe as liberal arts? And see, that's who I want on my team when we talk about ethics. I don't want everybody who's a master's student in business deciding on ethics. I want a team that's comprised of my engineer over there, my biological scientist over here, my philosophy student over there, my English student over there, and it's that kind of diversity that's going to allow us to answer these questions. So I'm a big, not proponent, opponent of the fact that you're either going to be working in the AI industry or you're going to be eaten up by it. I think that's not at all the case. I think some people are going to be coding and other people are going to be questioning what the coders are doing.
I think that's a really good sort of insight into it. That sort of reminds me of Google, right? Everyone uses Google in here, right? I mean, so what does Google do? I mean, you mentioned like, well, you don't know what goes behind the scene. You search anything on the Google. How many of you actually go on the page 50 of the Google search? You go on page...
I saw somebody raise their hand.
Yeah, that's rare. That's rare. Because like the Google algorithm was programmed to give you the answers which you really want to see, right? So it's kind of biased opinion in some ways. Now when you mention like diversity in opinion, some of these GPTs or the computer programs, they're designed to, like, they're trained on the data. They're supposed to give you an answer which they think is the rightest answer that you can think of, right? And so when they're giving you an answer, do you think it's suppressing this diversity of opinion, or is it increasing the diversity in opinion? I mean, I wrote a piece as soon as ChatGPT came out, like some of the journalists would sort of reach out and ask for like what's going on. I draw a parallel between trading and ChatGPT. Like in the trading, like Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange, they have been using GPTs for a while. I mean, in 87, we used to have program trading, 1987. Then fast forward 2003, we are getting to high frequency trading. The code is deciding when to buy and sell. Since then, so think about it, 20 years, they have been using GPTs in computer stock trading. Now, what happens when GPT gets a question that it does not know an answer for? What do you guys think? Anyone have any comment? Anyone in the audience want to answer? Let's say you ask GPT a question. Has it ever happened that you did not get an answer?
Well, and I'm going to jump in here. Is another way to ask that question: what happens when ChatGPT needs to use judgment?
Yeah,
I don't have the data to give you an answer. I need to apply judgment.
Well, I have an answer for you guys because I look at the stock market data. And for example, have you heard about this term black swan event? Which is basically an event that happens rarely, like COVID-19. Okay, it's a really good event to sort of ask GPT. If ChatGPT wasn't back then, it wasn't there. But stock trading was happening. And what happened during the COVID? As soon as the market closed, every one of these GPTs left the market. They did not know what to do. So only human traders were left in the market. Is it good or bad? I don't know. But the only reason market survives is because this diversity in opinion. I think the stock market, like the price is going to go up. You think the price is going to go down. We trade. If we are all on the same side of the market will not exist. It will crash because we are all going to be either buying or selling. The same thing might happen in the GPT. If we are too trusting a computer software either to do monitoring or to make our decisions, think of that gold standard GPT, trained on everything possible, right? And everyone get access to that GPT. What's going to happen? A kind of similar outcome. Diversity in opinion would be suppressed. Okay, and then what will happen? Things will kind of start falling apart, in my opinion, because again, looking at the parallel in the stock market, if there's no data, if it's a black swan event, GPT doesn't know how to react. The best outcome is don't do anything, just leave the market. But as a human, we can't do it. We're always there. We can't stop breathing. We always have to breathe. We have to do bare minimum in every single environment. So I think what I'm hearing these two say is basically think about GPT as a kind of a friend, not so much as someone like advisor. I mean, that needs to be you. You need to listen to everyone. Like you listen to all your friends, right? I mean, if you have to go somewhere, like you're asking your friend, what are you going to do for Christmas break? Everyone's going to give their opinion. And then you think, well, okay, maybe I'll go with this guy. I mean, this looks like a really fun, but you need to make that decision. You can't let your friend decide, like, oh, you need to go this way, when you have to actually go the other direction, right? So the same thing with the GPT, you need to be mindful. Now I want to move a little bit to a different topic and talk about the future of the workplace. Now, you both mentioned that the jobs are not going to go away, but what I'm thinking is some of the basic jobs. For example, everyone is using Amazon here, right? I mean, some version of Amazon, maybe Flipkart. So when you sort of, right now when you go and chat, ask a question in Flipkart, do you get a human that answers that question? Probably not. There's a chatbot. So, but that job used to be some human used to be, before chatbot were implemented, a human was answering those questions. So the jobs are already evolving, right? And so as GPT sort of takes over a little bit of that area, do you guys think the entry-level jobs, which used to be available for the students, is going to change in the near future?
I think they already have. I think they already have. And entry-level jobs are changing. But as the system is evolving, as technology is evolving, so are we. Who today, after a graduate course or a postgraduate course, wants to do an entry-level job really? Everyone's aiming higher, aren't you all? You all are all aiming higher. And if we are aiming higher, we also want a support. And you just mentioned earlier that you need to start looking at generative AI as a friend, as a companion. So taking cue from the chatbot answering our queries, how many of us sitting in this room are disgusted with a chatbot answering our query? We are all disgusted. Why? Because each of us has a different question, and the chatbot is not equipped to answer it. What happens is we get frustrated after a while, and we're like, let me just call up the call center and have a word. Because at least there will be a human on the other side who is going to understand what my query is or what my concern is, and try and help me out basis my need. Now that's exactly where the limitation of generative AI is seen. And it is going to exist because generative AI is always going to depend on historical data. It's never going to depend on futuristic data. When it comes to future, maybe tomorrow there is something. But again, it's pre-trained. There are prompts. So as long as humans are the prompters, futuristic is not going to be futuristic enough more than humans can think through. It is still going to be restricted and restrained.
Yeah, David, do you have a comment on jobs in real estate markets? Are changing?
Well, how about just jobs in general?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is exactly right that the future of generative AI is here right now, obviously. I think if it were my students, and I'll call you my students, or my children, and they were anxious about what the future holds in terms of generative AI, I think I'd say, well, look, there are going to be those who work in that space of generative AI, and they're very engaged in it, either in the development or building the supercomputers that are making it work, or the production of energy that's required for generative AI. And there are also going to be those who look for opportunities where generative AI cannot get across that moat. That moat, that thing that creates a big defense. And those opportunities, if you want to look for those and think about those are going to be things that are very manually intensive. And can I give a quick example that may not be too quick?
Quick.
Yeah, quick. Okay, real quick. So in my spare time, one of the things I do is a professor in finance and real estate investment is I work with private equity funds. So these are not publicly traded investors. These are people who are getting money from the rich Jews of the future. And imagine for a moment that I'm a general partner. I'm a general partner who's starting a private equity fund, and I'm thinking about how am I going to use generative AI as a general partner starting up a new fund. And I might be able to use generative AI to screen opportunities. Because a lot of opportunity, the word is out there with the brokers, people who are selling things, that I'm going to be an investor. What I can't use generative AI for is any place that's manually intensive where I need to put boots on the ground, and that includes where do I get my investors? And if I have no track record, somebody can't go on Google and look for David Down's track record as a general partner. What I typically am going to rely on is friends and family. And friends and family don't evolve through generative AI. They evolve through relationships. So maybe you decide that your moat in life is that you're going to have really, really strong connections with friends and family. And friends and family who have money to invest. So then I look for these opportunities that come across, and one of these opportunities does come across, and I want to research it, and I can use generative AI to, do a comparison between this potential investment and something else. I can use generative AI to do my pro formas. Everybody knows what a pro forma is. And I do all that work, but then, particularly with a real estate investment, I need to go look at it. Generative AI really can't do that for me. Sure, it might be able to simulate the graphics, but it can't do that, and I have to go look at it, so that's manually intensive. And then there are maybe a lot of tenants associated with this investment. And generative AI can't really talk to those tenants. I need to go talk to those tenants. One of those tenants is a nail salon that has a leaky roof, and they want to tell me about their leaky roof. And one of those tenants might be a restaurant that's not happy with the lighting in the parking lot. So my point being, Juan's telling me to move along. But my point being is there are going to be lots of spaces where generative AI, I don't like the idea of take over, but it takes over, and there are going to be lots of spaces where it just can't touch. And being able to get that straight in your head and decide in which of those fields you're going to play, I think that's an important part of where you are right now, and the future looks pretty exciting to me.
I want to add something, if you may.
1 minute.
Okay. Now, a lot of us here are researchers, and every time I go and speak with scientists or science researchers in particular, I get one response. I'm a scientist. My job is to do my research. Reporting, putting everything in a paper is too tedious, too time-consuming, and I don't want to devote my time to this. I don't want to devote my time to this. Now, that is where technology comes to help. That is where technology can make your life easier. But it can't really conduct experiments in a wet lab. It can't really make sure or ascertain the results that you can see with naked eye. And that is where the human in the loop becomes very, very important. And I think we've just echoed each other that the human in the loop is very crucial, and generative AI can't replace that.
I think that's a really interesting diversity of opinion, right? So my diversity of opinion basically tells me that AI is going to take a lot of things. One example, I'll pick what you said, was about, let's say, chatbot experiences, right? Or the human involvement in real estate valuation. Let me ask the audience here. Everyone's had a bad experience with chatbot, right? Everyone wants to talk to a human. Now I start putting prices. What if to talk to a human you have to pay $50? How many of you would talk to a human?
Oh, I just heard that today morning, that now generative AI is also counseling. And again, this was a conversation with my son when I was getting ready. And I was like, why would you talk to a machine about your emotions? And what are you going to get out of the machine when it comes to emotional responses?
Well, what if as a mom you have to pay $100?
I wouldn't. I would rather pay it to a human.
So, I mean, again, there's a price to it. And I think that's where I think not only, even before ChatGPT came out or a kind of AI-based bots, Dell computers, they used to outsource their customer care to India. And then they started putting a price. If you want to be transferred to North American customer care, you pay $400. When you buy the computer, you pay $400. We'll never transfer you to India. We'll transfer you to North America. The reason was the humans, like who would call the customer care in India, they were still having the same issue, because the first thing that the agent would tell me if I call, like, well, I'm having a problem with my computer, they would ask me, did you plug in the computer? Did you press the start button? I already did it. Now, the frustration is not so much, in my opinion, about the interaction. It's because I'm already frustrated. So it doesn't matter if I talk to a human who doesn't know enough, or I talk to a chatbot, I'll have the same frustration. I think what we are getting at is the skill. So basically, can I train the chatbot enough that it can move beyond that will press the power button on the computer? It can sort of give me a customized solution, which again, by the way, it's coming. Like, how many of you heard about robo-advising? In fact, at one of the SIMSARC, we hosted one of the CEOs of a robo-advising company, Piston, probably 6-7 years ago. That company just took off. I mean, it's becoming one of the largest companies in robo-advising in India. And what they do, they are just taking your personal information and tailoring the financial portfolio based on your needs, right? I think otherwise, people will not cater to your needs, because you may have, in the end, let's say $1,000 to invest. You come to me, I'm like, it's not worth my time, right? And so you're not getting the financial advice that you need because you don't have a big enough portfolio. So what do? You go to robo-advising. It's the next best. But at least you get to participate in some of those markets, right? Now that we have only 15 minutes left, why don't I ask you guys in the audience the same question I asked the panelists? How do you guys think the market is evolving, and are you guys worried? And second, do you think your education, the current education, is kind of preparing you well for the future? Do you guys have any insights into it? Any volunteers? Let's start from this side. Anyone wants to take one or the two questions? Well,
and I think we appreciate diversity of opinion.
You only get maybe 5 more seconds. Otherwise, this question goes to here. Last call. You don't win if you don't play. Now, all right, anyone wants to volunteer from this side? Again, the question is, like, what do you think the future would look like? And do you think you are equipped, you're prepared well for the future? No one?
We have no opinions.
Oh, there, yeah, perfect.
Good morning, my name is Samiksha. I think in the future we are going to see a different definition of hard work. And as of right now, I don't think the education system is preparing us well for the future. However, I am very hopeful that the students ourselves, we are preparing ourselves for the future. Because finding sort of nooks and crooks and playing with the system itself is teaching us a lot. Maybe it's not the most ethical thing to do right now, but I think we are preparing ourselves for the future.
Since I got you on there, now that you took the mic, I'll ask you a few more questions.
Right.
Because I'm the moderator.
Okay.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever accounted for the time you spend on the cell phone?
I have, yes.
How much?
The highest has gone to 7 hours and the lowest has gone to 4 hours.
Okay, 7 to 4. That's a lot of variation. Why does it vary?
I get busy. I get busy with, yes.
What makes you busy?
Normal life. I think I have the days that I have more to do. If I have to go to the shops, I have to get some grocery, I have to spend more time with personal work. Sometimes I do a lot of reading for myself.
Teachers maybe give you more work?
Yes, they do. They do give us work. So for that also we have to do a lot of reading. So sometimes we do kind of keep ourselves away from our phones.
So, I mean, if we work the math, so how many hours would you sleep, let's say?
6, more than 6, around 6 to 7. 7, yes.
7 plus 7 is 14.
Yes.
14 hours is gone.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying gone, but I accounted for. And then maybe left 10 more hours.
Yes.
Right? Some entertainment, hopefully you eat food, hopefully you take a shower and everything. So by the time we are done with all of this, how many hours do you think you have left which you can say, this is my free hours?
Free hours, I think I would say around an hour or 2.
An hour. Now, anyone in the front want to volunteer? The teachers? Well, I was just curious, like, how did it, like, growing up, when I didn't have technology, I had, like, probably, I would say 7 to 8 hours for free. You can see the technology is taking away my 7 hours. Not saying it's a bad or a good thing, it's just accountability. Have you ever given some thought, like, where is my day going? I mean, I still don't feel productive, but I spend a lot of time going through it. Sorry? We don't have time anymore, but I mean, it's a little timekeeper right there. So I ran through all of my questions, but I think I want to leave you with this thought. I mean, reflect on it as the panelists sort of mentioned, like, we'll use the technology mindfully. Most of the time, we are not mindful. When you spend 7 hours, or even 5 hours for that matter, are you being mindful? Am I using the technology that's supporting me, or is the technology, I'm feeding into technology, or technology is feeding into me, right? So I think...
Or feeding off me.
Or both. So I would say, just as a kind of a future of this country and future for your own future, I would say start reflecting. And the more you reflect, and as David pointed out, if you want to work out, you have to go out to the gym. You cannot just search on phone and the workout will be done for you. It's not going to happen. Most of the time we spend time searching for the workout that we should be doing outside, running outside, right? So be mindful of that. And
I don't want the moderators or the group to cut you off, so I'll let them cut me off. But there's an interesting Harvard Business Review article out right now that talks about what are the things that everybody should be doing every day with generative AI. And it's sort of like, you can't cram fitness. You can't do it all at the last. You can't cram farming. If you don't plan, when you need to plan it. And I think the same thing goes with generative AI. Where's my time going? And maybe here are the things I should do to train myself, develop myself as I'm going along. But anyway, what fun.
And to close it all, you can't talk about how the session went, good or bad, with a chatbot, really.
Well, thank both the panelists, and thank you again for volunteering. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
It takes a lot of effort to do it.
Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
All right. Well, thank you for your attention, and back to you guys.
Due to time constraints, we regret that we are unable to take any more questions. However, we encourage you to share your questions with us, and we'll ensure they are forwarded to the respective panelists. The responses will be shared with you at the earliest opportunity. We extend our sincere gratitude to our moderator and panelists, Professor Pavan Jain sir, Professor David Downs sir, and Ms. Nidhi Gulati ma'am for this truly enlightened session. We hope that they will continue to be associated with SIMS in the future as well.
Now, we request Director Sir to kindly come up on the stage in order to felicitate our panel members. Firstly, we have Professor Pavan Jain sir. Professor David Downs sir. Now we have Professor David Downs sir. Lastly, Ms. Nidhi Gulati ma'am. Now we request Director sir and all the panelist members for a group photograph. Student managers are kindly requested to stay back.
We would like to inform everyone that the inaugural ceremony is scheduled at 11:30 a.m. right here in the auditorium. So kindly maintain the decorum of the auditorium. Thank you.
It's time. I'll tell you a story. A story of a cub, not much bigger than you.
So just to be clear, we're not in this story?
There's a lot of stories with all of us. Tell one of those. Long before they became legends, Mufasa and the prince who would come to be known as Scar became brothers.
Hello, what's your name?
Mufasa.
I told you to wait for me. We can't just leave him here.
Rules are rules, Taka. The king will never accept a stray.
I'm not a stray. I'm just lost.
We do not associate with outsiders. Taka is the future king. We must protect the bloodline.
But, Dad, I saved his life. I have a secret, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother.
Sometimes I get a scent. It's barely a trace on the wind. And it smells like home. And it's gone.
You and Taka together. That is home. Now both of you go. Find your place in the circle of life.
The circle is broken. There will be one Lion King.
Mufasa, run!
We must fight together. If we fight, we die.
Just to be clear, I never signed up for this.
I'm here to protect you, my brother. Saying?
ये देख रहे हो?
Hello.
चलो जाओ ऊपर पीछे जाकर देखना माइक की आवाज आ रही है
हेलो
हेलो हेलो हेलो गुड मॉर्निंग हेलो बोलो एंड्रिया
हेलो
हेलो
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, scholars, and visionaries from around the globe, I, Andrea Rodriguez, along with Akshay M. Pillai, the student managers of SIMS, welcome you all to the SIMS 15th Annual International Research Conference, SIMSARC 2024. Introducing to you our knowledge partners, Emerging Market Society, University of Sydney Business School, Emerald Publishing, and our conference partner, Taylor's University, Malaysia. It is with immense pleasure and profound honor that we stand before you as we embark on a journey of intellectual exploration and collaboration.
SIMSARC is the premier annual research conference of Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, Pune, which provides a forum for academicians, scholars, and representatives from the industry to participate, present, and publish their research and build new partnerships and research capabilities. In an era defined by rapid global advancements, securing the future requires a diverse yet interconnected approach across domains. Hence, the theme for SIMSARC 2024 is Technology and Beyond, Business Solutions for One World, One Future. In a world brought close by technology, new age solutions are required to tackle problems in a fast-evolving business landscape. As the world draws closer through technology, the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family, envisioned for us by our founder and chancellor of SIU, Dr. S.B. Muzumdar sir, has never been more relevant than it is today.
Now, we would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Anand Deshpande sir, our Honorable Pro-Chancellor, Dr. Vidya Yeravdekar ma'am, our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Ramakrishnan Raman sir, Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar sir, Dean, Faculty of Management, SIU and Director SIMS, and Dr. Praveen Kumar Boyar sir, Deputy Director SIMS. We would also like to acknowledge the presence of our faculty members, researchers, and student managers of SIMS. We now present to you all a short movie that captures the essence of SIMSARC and its journey to what it is now.
I now request all the dignitaries on the stage to come forward for the lighting of the lamp.
राजश्री सोल से सारे
SIMSARC is grateful to all those who contributed to bringing it to its current level in the last 15 years. Management education requires real-life examples, and we have the finest example of leadership and commitment in SIMS, our very own director, Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar. Now, we take this honor to introduce him. Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar is the Dean, Faculty of Management at SIU and has been the Director of SIMS for the last 16 years. He was Head of Faculty, Strategic and Operational Studies at Army War College and a faculty member in Defense Strategic Studies at Defense Services Staff College, Wellington. Sir has done his PhD from Symbiosis International University, an MPhil from DAVV University, and an MSc from Madras University. A gold medalist in BE Civil, Sir has done his MBA specializing in human resource management. He has rich experience in strategy, planning, logistics, and human resource management based on his service with multinational teams such as United Nations forces in Somalia and Lebanon. Sir has served in Kargil and Leh on the line of control, where he was responsible for the logistics and supply chain management of soldiers located on posts at 17,000 to 22,000 feet in the Siachen Glacier. Sir is a paratrooper, having done jumps from varied military aircrafts. He has done skydiving, parasailing, water skiing, hot air ballooning, and rappelling. Sir won the National Silver Medal in 1981 in the Cox Fours rowing event. He is an expert in the construction of military bridges, demolitions, mine warfare, bunkers, and fortifications. Brigadier Dr. Rajiv Divekar has a large number of research publications in high-ranking national and international journals. Sir is on the Academic Council at SIU and is also a member of the Board of Studies, Faculty of Management. We would now like to request Sir to deliver the welcome address.
Mr. Anand Deshpande, Founder, Chairman and MD, Persistent Systems. Dr. Vidya Yaravdekar, Pro-Chancellor, Symbiosis International University. Dr. R. Raman, Vice-Chancellor, Symbiosis International University. Dr. Praveen Kumar, Deputy Director, SIMS. Faculty, staff, and dear student managers of SIMS MBA batch 23-25. A very good morning to all of you and a warm welcome to SIMS for this SIMSARC. I welcome you all to the 15th Annual International Research Conference, SIMSARC 24. It has been a long, fruitful and enriching journey since 2010 towards creating knowledge through quality research. The conference serves as a pivotal platform for scholars, practitioners, and industry professionals to share and discuss cutting-edge research, best practices, and emerging trends in the field. These events play a crucial role in disseminating knowledge, fostering collaboration, and facilitating the exchange of ideas that contribute to advancement of management theory and practice. Attendees have the opportunity to present their research, receive constructive feedback, and engage in meaningful discussions that enrich their perspectives. Furthermore, management conferences provide a valuable space for networking, enabling participants to establish connections with peers, potential collaborators, and industry leaders. Through keynote talks and panel discussions, these conferences also contribute to continuous professional development of individuals in management community, helping them to stay updated about the latest developments and challenges in the business world. I would like to draw your attention that each year, as you saw in the film that was shown a little while ago, the theme of the conference is chosen after a lot of deliberation so that it is in sync with the latest happenings across the globe and includes the various facets of business and management. The theme for this year's conference is Technology and Beyond, Business Solutions for One World, One Future. And who better to know about this or talk about it than Symbiosis, whose motto is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as is written on top also there. This world is one family. The theme resonates profoundly with the advancements and applications of artificial intelligence. AI has become a transformative force, enabling businesses to innovate, optimize operations, and address global challenges with unprecedented efficiency. From predictive analytics and intelligent automation to decision-making systems, AI equips organizations with tools to tackle issues like climate change, healthcare, accessibility, and resource management on a global scale. By fostering cross-border collaboration and breaking down language and cultural barriers, AI facilitates a unified approach to problem solving, ensuring inclusivity and equity in technological progress. Moreover, AI's potential to enhance sustainability through energy efficient systems and smarter resource utilization aligns with the vision of a shared and prosperous future. This theme underscores the importance of AI development and its ethical use, where businesses leverage its capabilities to create solutions while ensuring accountability and safeguarding global well-being. The plenary sessions, we had one in the morning, which you all attended and appreciated. The first one was on role of Gen AI in business and management. Coming up next, later on, would be enhancing employee experiences with Gen AI. And lastly, implications of AI in the financial sector. The conference received 156 papers from 4 countries, of course, including India. 40 papers were finally selected for presentation after a rigorous double-blind review process, which indicates that our acceptance rate is just 25%. The conference will have its first international track for Malaysia researchers organized in collaboration with Taylor's University, Malaysia. The papers will be presented in faculty, doctoral, and student track, where the participants will be able to get critical feedback on their research work from expert academicians. Presenting at a conference is a powerful means of showcasing one's expertise, gaining visibility within the academic community, and contributing to the collective knowledge base, ultimately fostering a collective and dynamic research environment. I hope that the conference plenary sessions and paper presentations will strengthen your research knowledge and skills, as well as provide a learning experience. With these words, I welcome you all on board to SIMSARC 2024. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring words. Now, we take the privilege of introducing Dr. Ramakrishnan Raman, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, SIU. With a remarkable educational journey that includes a bachelor's degree in computer science and engineering and an MBA in systems and marketing and a doctoral degree in management from Pune University, Sir brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to this esteemed institution. His extensive career spanning over 2 decades is a testament to his diverse experience in corporate, academic, and research domains. Sir has served Symbiosis for over a decade in different capacities, including Professor and Director, Symbiosis Center for Information Technology, Professor and Director, Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Pune, Dean, Faculty of Management, and Director, Strategy and Development.
Dr. Raman sir's contributions extend beyond the classroom, as he has been instrumental in fostering international collaborations with universities in Japan, Canada, United Kingdom, and the United States. His prolific research in information systems, IT systems, entrepreneurship, AI, and big data has earned him recognition with national and international academia. Aston University's Aston India Center for Applied Research, College of Business and Social Sciences has appointed Dr. Raman sir as an honorary professor for a 3-year term ending in 2027. Dr. Raman sir's commendable contributions have earned him recognition in both administrative and research spheres. In 2024, he was appointed as a distinguished member of prestigious committees by the UGC. Sir's wealth of expertise promises to significantly enhance these committees, as his participation will play a pivotal role in effecting amendments and refining existing processes. In addition to his distinguished achievements, Sir has authored a multitude of research papers featured in prestigious international journals indexed in Scopus and Web of Science, further enhancing his academic credentials. We now request you to please address the audience, sir.
Respected Chief Guest, Dr. Anand Deshpande, who is the founder and chairman and MD of Persistent Systems, Dr. Rajiv Divekar, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Management of SIU and the Director SIMS, the Deputy Director who is on the dais, and Dr. Vidya, Pro-Chancellor of the University, who is leading from the front, ensuring international collaborations happens in a bigger, better, and a faster way for the university. Faculty members, staff members, and students, a very good morning to all of you. Symbiosis, as all of you know, started by Dr. S.B. Majumdar for the welfare of foreign students studying in India. He thought that education is the best way to ensure that this happens in a better fashion, and right from 75, several education institutions have been established in different faculty, including management, law, engineering, media, computer studies, etc. The latest addition to the existing campuses that we have in Noida, Nagpur, Nasik, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune was Dubai, where we started our operations this year as Symbiosis International University, Dubai. Many might be wondering that there are other players, private players already in Dubai. What big deal? We are the only university who has gone out of India as a non-profit entity, where others have gone as a for-profit entity, establishing their company there and starting with the same name as the university which exists in India. Yeah, it's been a big, I would say, a struggle when you have to go outside India as a trust. And thanks to all the efforts of the Pro-Chancellor, who left no stone unturned for this to happen. When you talk about Symbiosis, this was the destination where you get an entry and you'll find a fabulous job. That was till 2010, and it continues today as an agenda as well. So if you look at people who are at the CXO levels and who are at the VP levels, you'll find many who are alums of Symbiosis. We have 16 B schools. SIMS is one of those prestigious schools where the defense dependent actually take admission here. And you got so many great alums who are a part of this school who have graduated from this school. Research became an agenda, mainstay agenda from 2010-11 on, where we thought we'll have to go and show the world that we are second to none when it comes to research. So if you compare the focus for research, yeah, it took its mainstay from 14-15. Okay, so that's the place where we started and told that we should also create knowledge while we disseminate knowledge. We come a long way from where we were. If you look at the NIR of ranking where we are positioned, we were above 50 when we entered ranking. Today we are among the top 35 institutions, universities in India, which shows that we are doing something right. Although there are many people who give a lot of comments about how this ranking is not so great, but nobody shies of telling that we are somewhere there when it comes to ranking. The first big achievement when it comes to the global platform is we were ranked in the range of 640 to 650 in the QS World University Rankings, wherein the world universities participate in it and nearly about 50% of weightage is given for research when it comes to the evaluation parameters. I think this needs a round of applause. Thank you so much. It's not easy to get into world ranking because you got the best of the universities, and we entered for the first time outbeating several good universities which are also known for research in India, and getting the place among the first 1,000 itself is very difficult, but we were there in 640 to 650 as a rank. The best part is when it comes to employable graduates, they also look at that. We were among the top 10 in India when industries have to find great employable graduates in this country, which is also a phenomenal stuff for which the university was established by Dr. S.B. Mujumdar. He still says that we'll have to find great jobs for our students and encourage them to create their own startups. Well, that focus continues. The recently found focus of research is also something which we are keen on. And hence, we are one among those universities which encourage faculty members by supporting them, paying the APC charges for journals, which is high, and also incentivizing for the good work that they do. No other university, to my knowledge, in India does both. There are universities who say we'll support you on APC charges, but they don't incentivize them. We are the only university in this country possibly going and supporting faculty members on their publication as well as incentivizing them. Now, this particular conference is something which is unique because you've been running this year after year. Kudos to the director and the team SIMS for this to happen, because it's not easy to have this conference every year, inviting papers, giving a platform for people to collaborate and fine-tune their research. Well, there are premier research conferences in this country which is focused on one specific topic. Yeah, they are there, they're very good. Then why SIMSAR? SIMSAR gives a platform to not prolific great researchers, but the young budding researchers who have to present their papers and get feedback so they become better. Today, we are happy that from Symbiosis, we have 10 people who are among the top 2% scientists in the world, which is published by Stanford, and database of Scopus is taken. A university where we were nowhere in research, from there on, we have gone a long way where we have 10 people in this list, which is something excellent. Yeah, we aspire that that 10 becomes 100, and we are sure that it will become in the next possible 5 to 6 years, because efforts are on in that direction to ensure we support young researchers. So this is one such conference which gives a platform to industry people, faculty members, students, and young researchers. For faculty members, a platform to network. The more you network, the more is your net worth. As far as research, the more you collaborate, the better you are when it comes to publishing. So this gives a great platform for all faculty members of Symbiosis, especially at SIMS, to collaborate, network. Next, you also have people from the industry over here. Connecting theory to practice is something which is very important. One stuff which is always told by the industry is you don't give industry-ready graduates, they don't hit the ground running when they join our companies. So here is a great advantage again for the faculty members to discuss and ensure that you are able to connect theory to practice when you're going to talk to these industry professionals. Next, for research scholars, fine-tuning your research is most important. While you send your papers to Q1 journals, you should not get a desk reject. At the same time, your citations should go high. The more you are criticized about your research, the better it is for you to fine-tune. SIMSAR gives a platform to all such researchers to ensure you get maximum criticism. So while you go ahead and take that criticism, you will be able to fine-tune your research so that it becomes better. So that's the next thing that SIMSAR does, and I'm happy about it. Next, for students. Excellent way to sharpen your perspectives. If you're able to go and look at criticism, you're able to go ahead and say what people are presenting, your perspectives becomes better. So that's a great opportunity which otherwise you don't get in classrooms, right? So make the best use of your opportunity that you have now with the plenary sessions that you have, as well as the presentations that happen. So it gives a great platform to faculty members, researchers, students, and industry professionals to collaborate and add value to themselves. I once again congratulate Dr. Divekar and Team SIMS for making this happen, and I wish this is a great success. Ensure you tag on your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, hashtag SIMSAR, hashtag SIU, and hashtag SIMS. Thank you so much.